In a day and age when threes and layups are becoming more and more popular relative to everything else, I think the most overlooked shot in basketball is that short jump shot. So I consider this anything that's too close to be considered a standard mid-range, but is more of a jumper type shot than a floater or a layup. Yes, of course there's a gray area for sure in terms of what a short jumper is, but I'll show you just how important these shots are at every level, the different types, and how you can apply them. So to get started, I'll show you a few different types of short jumpers that we can get into. Number one, turnarounds or other shots off of that pivot. When we come to a 2-foot stop in this area, we work a lot on laying the ball up after a pump fake or letting the defender pass. But in reality, the majority of the time is going to be a short jumper. Being able to come to a 2-foot stop, pivot out of that, and get into space for a jumper is a huge skill to have, because we're not always going to get past our defenders. So being able to pivot and hit that short jumper is extremely valuable. Number two is that short fade. When players get down in that paint area, especially shorter guards, being able to slow down and fade back from taller defenders is huge. It's not your typical fadeaway, but it's so useful. You'll notice a few things here technique-wise. One, it doesn't have to be a crazy leaning fader. Many times just slightly leaning back will do the trick. Number two, in terms of footwork, you have some freedom, but many of these can be out of a hop or a quick 1-2, where the feet come down in a staggered fashion to get some rhythm. I'll talk more about this shot in the future. We can also get into these short jumpers off of a separation move, where we create some space into that jumper. Or we can use them as a bailout, whether it's off a live dribble and you just run out of space like right here, or you come to a stop and just need to get a shot up under pressure. These short jumpers can be huge for finding ways to put the ball in the hoop when you're not in the best situation. So let's talk about technique now. On 90% of these, you're probably not going to be going straight downhill attacking the bucket. You'll see here, these guys' feet are facing the sidelines because there's simply not enough space to go straight at the bucket this close into the paint. So we're going to be shooting many of these going sideways, and as a result, you're going to have to rotate in midair to face that bucket. And this is tough to do, but what you'll see a lot of guys do is one, use their legs to create rotation in the air. Like here, how Jones is almost kicking his legs to whip him towards the bucket.
Graves or Williams for the penetration.
And two, players will hang in the air for longer to give them more time to rotate and stabilize. Sometimes even shooting on the way down. But being this close to the bucket makes it possible, since you don't need as much power. Being in this close also allows you to jump as high as you can, shoot at the top, and still have enough power to get it to the rim. Imagine trying to shoot a 3 like this. Another way to create separation here is with contact. Since that paint area is so compact, getting your defender to move backwards with a bump can be huge for creating these few feet of separation that you need to raise up and get this shot off comfortably. But notice that it's controlled contact. It's not just throwing your body at the defender. It's that shoulder and a little bit of forearm, but I'm not throwing myself off my path by doing this. That's ideal. When you compare these to perimeter shots, you'll see that more of these are off of a hop footwork, which feels a little bit more natural down there. Why? I think it's because there's limited space and time. And sometimes a 1-2 takes too long and you need too much space to get into it. But of course, many of these are also off of a 1-2. Everything's context dependent. Also, because there's so much traffic down here, some of these will be off of 1 foot. This is pretty unexpected. It makes it difficult for that defender to contest. Definitely a tough shot, but if you have the balance to do it and you've practiced that shot, it's one of the best ways you can get into these short jumpers. And it's also important that you account for how close the defender will be and protect the ball. Like LeVert here, as he's holding the ball away from that defender, knowing that he'll be swiping down at it as he enters the lane. So bringing up that ball on the side of the body is huge in traffic. Also, these are 90% of the time going to be contested shots, so they're going to be tough makes that take practice. If you look at most players, there isn't much correlation between those with the highest percentage of threes and short jumpers, despite them both being jump shots. In fact, there are only 2 players in the top 50 of both threes and short jumpers percentage-wise, which shows me that there's not much of a correlation, so it's vital to work on both because they're distinct shots. So go out and get to work on it. I'll post a workout for this soon, but in the meantime, go follow me on Instagram at ByAnyMeansBasketball to stay up to date. Thanks for tuning in.